All right, guys. They're getting a rare treat of possibly a same day video upload because usually all these videos that I've made have been months and months in the past. But I believe it's an important day today, being Juneteenth. And one of the things I'd like to talk about is some more recent things that have been going on with, white allyship, Black Lives Matters, all of this type of stuff. I'd like to talk about where I feel, and I'm just one voice that's starting a conversation here. So I definitely hope that you guys join me in the comments because I'm gonna love to hear about, the communities more affected by this. I feel like there are places where allies belong and where they don't belong. One of the things that I see is white fragility. And if you don't know some of these terms I'm using, feel free to Google them and look them up. Is getting to the point, white fragility is getting to the point of, people washing their hands of responsibility. Like saying things along the lines of, oh, that's a thing that they want to deal with themselves. So I'm just going to do my thing and I'm going to let them do their thing. But that is absolutely backwards. That's absolutely backwards because, eradicating racism is responsibility of the culture that created it. You don't put the responsibility on the victim, so you can't have a hands-off approach. And I see the white fragility that creates this hands-off approach because the hands-off approach is, I got flack for my solution, I got flack because I was white at all when I suggested my solution, but there's a problem in that very situation, so let's talk about it right now. The problem is, still coming from the frame set of leading, still coming from the frame set of power, essentially. You aren't listening. If you are providing with your solution and then you get, offended and, taken back and, being told that your voice is not needed in this conversation, it's because it isn't needed in that part of things, not the solution coming up part of things. Don't take the leadership role. Don't white knight. Don't do these things because it just shows even more and frustrates even harder the fact that you are not listening. The first step is to listen. The first step is to literally, let the people who have gone so long biting their lips, having to hold their tongue in fear of the repercussions, have a voice. So often, they've been in environments for so long where, come on, people, you can empathize. You've been the employee to a boss, where you can't even say anything because the environment is not conducive to you even having a voice. There's so many situations like this. You've been in maybe a family dinner where your political opinion is the total opposite and you have no choice with the power dynamics but to hold your tongue. Imagine living like that 24/7. So first, most and far most important is to release that, to create a welcoming space for the freedom of speech and not to blow up or get defensive or even argue your argument because that is not your place. Your place isn't to but, your place is to listen, to learn, to hear, to understand. And once you get to a place where you're listening, learning, hearing, and understand, your place is a supportive place. Your place is a place of turning around the culture of racism, which is a white culture. So it is our responsibility. Keep in mind, remember, it's not the responsibility of the victim. It is the responsibility of the perpetrator to stop this perpetrating from stopping. And racism is a cultural thing. That's a white cultural thing, which is why it's our responsibility to put in the effort to stop it. And it's exhausting for the victim to have to continue to deal with this constantly. Gosh. Yeah, sorry, I'm just so fired up about this. It's probably because I used to think about it in terms of these wrong ways too, and that's when I made my shifts. I made my shifts in terms of realizing that I used to insert myself into leadership positions in ways until I realized what's really needed is the support, and to extending, and to let things grow from within. And the biggest thing that I see is, this separation often. I just want to talk about that for a second. I don't want to get too off topic, but we're talking about a lot of topics here. And one is this separation of them versus us. I used to see this a lot when I was homeless, because when I was homeless, people would want to help, and they would want to do stuff, but they wouldn't see us as human. And there's a part of that I really identify every time I see everything on Facebook and everything where everybody is having kind of this heart for helping, but also doesn't make people human, and that really frustrates me, that you're not seeing everybody as your friend. You're not giving that same friend level of respect, of acknowledgement, of treatment, the kinds of solutions that are you've been thought of and coming up with, and I want to help by doing this or that, aren't really things that you'd be doing for your friend that you know personally, that you love as a friend. So that's really a core of like what's needed here. It sounds so dumb and simple, people, but it really is, like, to really see everyone, whether it is your friend, or a friend of a friend, as your friend, and to stick up for them like you would a friend, to use that as your frame of reference of like, I'm going to defend my friend, I'm going to help my friend, I'm going to support my friend, I'm going to value my friend's opinion, I'm going to value my friend's, solution in something, and regarding what's best for my friend, I'm going to let my friend be the authority in that. Yeah, sorry. It's just something it's been a lot these days, One thing that I like to say before we all kind of wrap up here is continue this conversation in the comments, because it's only by really talking about these things in a way that we're open, in a way that welcomes conversations, and if you don't know, and if something does trigger, don't try to counter as much as clarify and ask for more information. Practice that in the comments in this video if you want with that. And also, the shirt that I'm wearing belongs to one of my friends, madeinherimage.org. You should check out her organization if you're unfamiliar with it. But she helps black female filmmakers who are very young, learn the craft of filmmaking so they can tell their stories. It's a really great organization, and I absolutely love them. Malachi is a wonderful person too. And yeah, I will hopefully see you guys in the comments, and feel free to share this video with anybody that may benefit from seeing this. Thanks.